Hey everyone, some stories just stick with you, and today we're diving into one of those. It's a classic that asks a really powerful question. What's the true price of compassion? We're talking about Oscar Wilde's beautiful and, kind of heartbreaking tale, The Happy Prince. It's all about a golden statue with, believe it or not, a broken heart. So picture this. Way up high above a busy city, standing on this tall column is this incredible statue. I mean, it's completely covered in fine gold. It's got these two brilliant sapphires for eyes and this huge red ruby just glowing on the handle of its sword. And to everyone down below, well, they just called him the Happy Prince.
Okay, but here's where things get interesting, right? This is the real mystery of the story. You've got this beautiful, dazzling statue called the Happy Prince, but he's crying. His eyes are literally filled with tears. So you have to wonder, what on earth could make the Happy Prince so sad?
And that leads us right into the first part of our story, the weeping golden statue. This is where we meet a very unlikely character who's about to stumble upon the prince's secret. So who is this character? It's a little swallow, and he's late. All his friends have already flown south to Egypt for the winter, and he's trying to catch up. He sees the statue and thinks, hey, a golden bedroom, perfect spot for the night. He's not thinking about anything deep, just a comfy place to crash before his big trip.
But just as he's getting settled, drip, drip. He feels water falling on him. He looks up, and it's the prince crying. And the statue tells him this incredible story. He says, when I was alive, I had a human heart, but I never knew what tears were. He lived in this palace of pleasure where sadness just wasn't allowed. So he was happy, sure, but only because he was completely clueless. Now, stuck up here, he can see everything, all the ugliness and all the misery of his city for the very first time.
And that revelation, this brand new perspective, is a huge theme in the story. It's what we're going to look at next, a prince's painful vision. This is really the heart of the conflict, isn't it? It's all about appearance versus reality. On the outside, he's covered in gold, a symbol of happiness for the whole city. But inside, he has a simple lead heart that is just breaking from all the pain he sees. That's why he says, I cannot choose but weep. His beautiful jewels and gold aren't a sign of joy anymore. They're just a painful reminder of the misery he's now forced to see. So seeing all this pain makes the prince want to do something about it. And that brings us to the real core of the story, the gifts of selfless love. And guess who he's going to need to help him? His new and, let's be honest, pretty reluctant little friend. So the prince makes his first request. He tells the swallow, look over there. See that poor seamstress? Her little boy is sick with a fever and he's asking for oranges, but she has no money. It's just a heartbreaking scene. And the prince says, swallow, little swallow, will you please take the ruby from my sword and bring it to her? Now the swallow is like, no way, I've got to get to Egypt. He's really torn, but he sees how sad the prince is and he just can't say no. So he agrees to stay for just one night. He yanks the ruby out, flies it over to the little house and leaves it there. And then he does something really sweet. He fans the sick little boy with his wings until the kid falls into this peaceful sleep. And when he gets back to the statue, something has totally changed in him. He says, it's funny. It's so cold out, but I feel really warm. The prince tells him that it's because he did something good. And this, right here, this is that first little spark of real compassion starting to grow in the swallow's heart. Okay, so the next night comes, and the swallow is ready to go for real this time. But the prince begs him, please, just one more night. He's seen someone else who needs help. A young writer in a freezing attic, too cold and hungry to even write. And then the prince asks for something just staggering. He says, pluck out one of my eyes and take it to him. One of his sapphire eyes? And what's so amazing about this gift? It's not just about the value of the jewel. The young man finds it and thinks it must be from a secret admirer. And that feeling that someone out there believes in him, it gives him all the hope and energy he needs to finish his play. It was a gift for his soul, not just his wallet. So, again, the swallow gets ready to leave, and again the prince stops him. This time, he's seen a little girl selling matches in the square. She's dropped them all, and they're ruined. She's crying because she knows her father will beat her when she gets home. And this is when the prince makes the most gut-wrenching request of all. Pluck out my other eye and give it to her.
the swallow just protests. He says, "I can't do that," but he does it. He takes the last sapphire to the little girl, who is just overjoyed and runs home happy. But when the swallow gets back, the prince is now completely blind. And that's it. That's the moment the swallow's journey to Egypt is over for good. He looks at the blind prince and says, "I will stay with you always." And that vow, that total commitment, leads us straight to the story's climax. Their final shared act, the ultimate sacrifice. So now that the prince can't see, the swallow becomes his eyes. He flies all over the city and comes back to tell the prince about all the suffering he sees, especially the poor, starving children. And the prince gives his last command: "You must take off all my gold, leaf by leaf, and give it to the poor. Everything he has left." Well, winter finally sets in for real. It starts to snow. The swallow gives away the very last piece of gold, and the once beautiful statue is now just dull and gray. The little bird is getting so cold, but he won't leave. He loves the prince too much. He knows he's about to die, so he gathers his last bit of strength and flies up to the prince's shoulder one last time. He tells the prince he has to kiss his hand goodbye, but the prince asks for a kiss on the lips because he has come to love him. So the swallow kisses him and then falls down dead at his feet. And in that exact same instant, there's this strange cracking sound from inside the statue. It's the prince's lead heart. After everything it endured, it finally snapped right in two. And that lead heart, that's really the most important symbol in the whole story, right? It's what the prince was on the inside, his real compassion, his inner goodness. The gold and jewels, all that superficial stuff, could be stripped away and melted down. But his heart? It represented a love so true and strong that not even a furnace could destroy it. The only thing that could break it was grief. That broken heart brings us to the story's incredible conclusion, where we see the world's judgment go head-to-head with a heavenly one. Let's get into our final section, the most precious things. So the next morning, the mayor and his buddies, the town councilors, come strolling by. They look up at the statue and they're disgusted. Without all its gold and jewels, it just looks shabby to them. And their judgment is so quick and cold. They basically say, well, since he's not beautiful anymore, he's not useful anymore. Just like that. So they order it to be torn down and melted. And here it is, the story's final amazing contrast. The mayor, this guy who represents worldly power and superficial values, he just sees a shabby beggar and a dead bird. He even has the unbreakable lead heart thrown onto a trash heap right next to the swallow. But then, God asks an angel to fly down and bring back the two most precious things in the entire city. And what does the angel bring back? You guessed it, that same lead heart and that same dead bird. And God says the angel is chosen well. He says that in paradise, the little bird will sing forever, and happy prince will praise him in the city of gold. So what's the big takeaway here? It's that society, well, it judges by what it can see on the outside. But real value, things like compassion, selfless love, and sacrifice, that's usually invisible. It's on the inside. And that really leaves us with a question for ourselves, doesn't it? Where, in our own lives today, might we be missing something truly precious just because we're too busy looking at the shiny surface?